Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mike, and today we're going to be reviewing the Armour Detail Supply Hero rinseless wash. This came out at the end or towards the end of April 2024, and it is now middle of May 2024. And I've washed the vehicles roughly 15 to 20 times between them. And so I want to do, it's kind of a mini review, not a single review or initial impressions, but just a not necessarily a long-term review, but a short-term review, let's call it. So anyway, Armour Detail Supply does say that this has an SiO2 backbone, but that it does not leave any lasting protection. And through testing, I will say that it does behave just like they claim. Now they can use this, or they say that you can mix this 3 different ways, and they give you instructions. So as a rinseless wash, you would mix this 1 to 256 or 1 ounce for 2 gallons. As a clay lube, 1 ounce per gallon or 1 to 128. And as a waterless wash, 1 ounce per 64 ounces or 1 ounce for half gallon. So as a, for example, I just did the video on the Eco Wash from Geon. You can mix that as a drying aid, but for Armour Detail Supply, they actually have a product called, in fact, well, I don't have a label on this, but they have a product called Amplify that works fantastic as a drying aid. It's got SiO2 in it, and it leaves the surface feeling super slick, works great with a towel, etc. And it does have SiO2 in it. So there are 2 different sizes of the Hero here. There's obviously the gallon size right here, and then there's a 16-ounce size as well right now. And the 16-ounce size, as of the time of this recording, is $17.99 for the 16-ounce bottle, or $1.12 per ounce. So not very economical in the grand scheme of things compared with some of these other rinseless washes that just came out, like the Koshemi RRW or the Geon Eco Wash, which are about 60 cents per ounce. Same dilution ratio. However, when you get into the gallon size here, the gallon size is $64.99 for 128 ounces or a gallon. And that equals 51 cents per ounce, so way more economical than the little bottle. In fact, I almost wish that they sold the 1 liter or a 32-ounce bottle. You'd probably get best of both worlds that way, but I understand their reasoning behind with shipping and everything. They're a very small company, and I believe they also sell, I don't know if this is on Amazon yet, but they also sell some of their products on Amazon. And I'll have links below to those if they're not available on Amazon. So now that I've tested this a while, I do have some notes that I wanted to share about my testing, because it does say that it has an SiO2 backbone for this rinseless wash, the Hero, and it behaves when you use the sponge and you go across the surface, so you're going across, the water behavior does act like it has an SiO2 in it. So for example, the CarPro ECH2O or the Geon that I just did, if you saw those clips, you could see the water behavior showing the lines across the surface, the tiny beads. That's how the SiO2 reacts inside these rinseless washes. And this is no different. It behaves just like that. Now the difference between this and that, it does not leave lasting protection like they said. So for example, when you're using the towel to dry it off, the towel is not gliding across the surface. It's not super slick like you would use with a different SiO2 based wash. The towels with, say for example, this Dreadnought here with a twist loop design, the towel glides across pretty good. You don't need a drying aid. You don't feel it like it's bunching up on you, for example. It dries. And that's all you really need. You don't need it to feel super slick. So, anyway, with that said, it does need, and the other thing too is, now when you're using the sponge on this, I have noticed that the sponge does need to be a little bit more damp than with other products. So for example, the P&S Absolute, I'm able to wring it out a lot more. The DIY Detail, I wring it out a lot more. Even the Koshemi, I was able to wring it out a little bit more. This I found leaves, if you wring it out too much, it does tend to not pick up all the dirt that it otherwise would, because when I started wringing it out less and leaving the sponge a little bit more soaked with water to the point where you could still see dripping, it cleaned fantastic. It cleaned way better than when I was using my original wash method, let's just say that. Now on dirty areas, for example, the bottom of the doors, it's just always a good idea with any rinseless wash. Go down there, do the door. When you get to the bottom, flip it over and do the whole bottom of the door again. It's gonna leave the surface way cleaner. I know in the Battle of the Brands, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just going across because I just wanna see how it's gonna clean one time only. But in a normal rinseless wash, you wanna go over those dirty areas twice. So the other thing too is, and I just mentioned you don't need a drying aid with the towels. However, if you feel like you need a drying aid, use their Amplify spray. It is fantastic. It works great. It leaves the surface super slick. I will say it works great on normal traffic film and road film. I have tested that multiple times now on this vehicle and even on the car. On Pollen, somehow it became pollen season twice where I am here. On moderate to light pollen, this works great. One pass with the sponge is all you need. It takes everything off. It doesn't leave a green tinge. It doesn't leave any pollen left on the surface. With heavy pollen though, you absolutely need to use it 2 passes. Use it, do your wash, rinse it out, and do another pass with it to get all the pollen off. And I will say that I have not run into any products that are really good yet on heavy pollen. Even the DIY Detail, which is one of the better rinseless washes that I've come across, even that on pollen does not seem to work at all. The DIY Detail works fantastic on dirt, but on pollen, it is to me a lower tier than this. This is pretty good on medium to light pollen. So, and then the other thing too is I actually mix this up as a waterless wash, 1:64. As they say, and as a waterless wash, it works well on pollen, it works well on the dirt. And what I will say though is, unlike other waterless washes, it does not leave, in fact, like they say with the SiO2 backbone, but does not leave lasting protection. It does not feel like it leaves lasting protection. So what I'm trying to say is, when you spray it and you wipe it off with a towel, it wipes off easily. But if you feel it with your hand, you run the back of your finger across the surface, it does not feel slick like other waterless washes. So for example, DIY Detail waterless wash, PNS, the Maniac line from Labo Cosmetica, or even the Ryan West waterless wash, those all feel slick to the surface after use. As a waterless wash, this does not feel slick like that, it's just clean. In fact, it almost has a little bite to it. I don't want to say like you could squeak your finger across the surface, but it does, there's a little bit of grabbiness there after you've buffed it with the towel. So that being said, always you're going to either use your sponge with a properly filled bucket here, or for those who don't want to use your sponge and keep doing the liquid method here, you would use your double flip towels or your 500 GSM towels. You would leave them soaking in the water. You would use them on the panel and then throw it in your used towel bucket. So in the videos here, you're going to see the mitt slide with the Chemical Guys bucket here. I use a bunch of different towels. I like the twist loops. They work really good whether or not you're using a rinseless or any other wash method. And for something to spray on the product onto the surface, you're going to use an IK, something like this, an IK Multi Pro 2 or any other product that you want. If you don't want to pump, I've also used the Solo sprayer, and the Solo sprayer is just battery. It works great. You fill it up, you just drop it in there, and it's a 360 sprayer. You just spray it on. So anyway, I have affiliate links for all these things below. If you want to buy your own rinseless or any of the other Armour Detail products, use code TOD10. I have a link below. TOD10 saves you 10%. And also they sell their products on Amazon. I have links to that below, and also links to some of these other products that I use as well. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Check out the clips below. And we always pre-spray rinseless to emulsify any dirt. In fact, let me, before we go further with this, I am going to show you how dirty the front of the car is, at least, so you kind of get an idea. All right, so hopefully you could see all the dirt, especially on the black here. You could see all the dirt that's built up from driving in the rain. In fact, that's way easier to see. All right, guys, when I see that much dirt, you know, around here and on the bottom there, what I like to do, so I do my pre-spray, and then, you know, it sits there, it emulsifies a lot of that dirt. But then I always want to go back. All right, I go back and I spray again. And a lot of times what I'm wanting to do is, if there's any grit or anything on there, I want to kind of rinse it down on the panel. So for example, here, there's dirt, you know, pretty much up to about here from the road spray. So what I'm going to do is just go over it again, and I'm going to rinse down the surface basically. And I'm only using a couple ounces of product here. And you can see there's just a little line of water on the ground. I'm not using a ton of it here. We're going to take our double flip towels. We just wring it out enough to get the water stopped. We don't want to squeeze it out or anything else. You know, this is still really wet. We're still really wet. And we're just going to start here. We're going to just go across the top. Nice and slow, deliberate. And again, we have the SiO2 based kind of water beading or water behavior, and you can see it more on the paint up here. We'll zoom in there in a sec. All right, so here we see the SiO2, the water behavior of when you have an SiO2 like rinseless wash. Same thing on the paint here, you could see it. All right, so that'll be in the video there, but you can see that's how the water behaves when you have an SiO2 rinseless. If I take our drying towel, even though stuff is dried, I go across here, no pressure whatsoever. Everything that was dried, all the lubrication, I guess you could say, their polymers or surfactants, anything that was on the glass is completely dry. It's completely slick. There's no grabbiness on the towel. In fact, even on the paint, you might not be able to pick this up unless you're watching it on a big TV. But even on the paint where I dried here, there's no issues. All right, if we come over here, hopefully you could see this. All the dried polymer spots here on the back window. If I just take my towel and go across, the only pressure I have is what's holding the towel, but you could see there's nothing left. All you see is the mirror. You can see the sky, the trees, myself in the camera here. There are no streaks. I mean, I didn't have to go across and buff it. I literally just wiped. Same thing on the paint. I'm just going across, and you can see it's just, there's a streak, and then it just instantly dries perfectly. And then we are going to take our bucket with our sponge. And what I've found is that instead of wringing out like this, like I do with a legacy sponge, so instead of doing that, what I found is that if I just do one of these, so there's still water here and here, when I let this go, it soaks it back up. And if I do this, water will start dripping, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. So water starts dripping, but it stays in the sponge, and it keeps the sponge nice and wet. And I find that works really good with the sponge and with the Hero here. So now we are officially done with our wash here. Again, the same 16 by 16 towel. Now on the back, I used one side, and I'm gonna keep using the same 16 by 16 towel. Again, on the surface, we had a bunch of it dry in the glass. No streaking whatsoever. It's just dry. I'm not seeing anything left behind. Hey guys, here we are at like 6:45 in the morning at this beautiful park. And there is nobody here this early. But anyway, I just wanted to show you, all right, you don't need to even do this at home or at the car wash bay or in your garage. But I just stopped on the way to work. I brought some Hero rinseless mixed in a bucket, 2 gallons, and then I also mixed up 2 gallons in my wash sprayer. All right, and I got some double flip towels. We're gonna test those because I have a ton of pollen on this thing. Hopefully, I don't know if you guys could see this. In fact, here, let's do this. Hopefully you could see that line. This might be more clear. I mean, I'm hoping you can really see that on camera there. Maybe that's better. But anyway, there's just a ton of pollen. The whole car, like when you're sitting in the driver's seat, it's completely green. But I want to hurry up and give this a wash before work. So we're gonna see if we could do this in like 15 minutes. So we're gonna spray our Hero with our wash sprayer. And I have not used this on pollen yet, so we are going to see how it works on pollen. So we got our, grab a couple double flips here. And these hold a ton of water, so we just want this one damp. I mean, it's still got a lot of water in it, but there we go. And with this, we can, here we go, we can just drag this across. And you could see, hopefully, all that green on the leading edge. I'm gonna make one more pass. And then we're gonna flip to the opposite side here. And same thing. A little bit of green, not a ton. All right, now this was super slick going across, and as you could see, just as in the other video, we have all that little, the SiO2 spots, etc., etc. And then I'm actually gonna leave that there and do the other side of the hood, and then we're gonna come back and dry. All right, guys, so you saw me do the whole front of the hood here. There is 0 pollen left. All right, 0 pollen left on here. I don't see any encapsulated into the polymer. I don't see any green at all. All right, and then I went around the other side here with the sponge on the front. So this is with the double flip, and you could see all the micro beading. But even on the sponge side, it appears that the Rag Company Ultra Safe Sponge, we see the same water behavior, but there's no green at all. So this appears, as of right now, to work really good on pollen. The Hero is encapsulating it all, wiping it all away. This is the middle of May right now, 2024. But the first part of the hood that I had done here with the double flip, I mean, it is almost dry now, and there is nothing left on here. It's just, there's no pollen. So it encapsulated it, it took it away. It didn't leave any behind in the polymer. It just soaked it all up. Those double flip towels did a fantastic job. All right, really quick, we're back to the hood. We have a G-Technic MF2 drying towel that I want to try out. I've never tested this. On one side, it's got kind of like a plush, low plush pile side, and then on the other side, it's just a tight weave. It's like 500 GSM, but they call it their MF2 Zero Scratch Drying Towel. So we're gonna go, and with the Hero, actually doing this method, or with this towel specifically, I would probably use a drying aid on this. Maybe the Hero is a waterless drying aid, or definitely the Amplify. All right, guys, I want to bring you in. I'm doing the front door here. Super slick. There's no road film on this. It's just a ton of pollen. But the sponge just glides across. That SiO2, in fact, yeah, sorry about that. The SiO2 infused portion is really shining on this. You know, it's just really, the sponge just glides across the surface there. And I noticed with the towel, in drying off with the towel there, let me throw this back in the bucket, but with the towel, when I'm going across, it's not so slick that it feels like there's a ton of SiO2 in it. It's just slick enough where if your towel is slightly damp, it doesn't need a drying aid at all. On the front hood there, the towel was a little bit grabby. But like you could just see how easy this dries. And we're pretty much just going panel by panel here. But just dries super easy. Nothing left behind. Working good so far. All right, everybody, there you have it. Some clips of washing with both the double flip towels and the sponge on the dirty, with the road film, and also showing with the what it does with the pollen and how it reacts, picks up the pollen, and then how it dries. There's two different towels we used in these clips. So if you want your own Armour Detail Supply, head over to that. There's a link below, actually. Head over to their website, code TOD10 to save you 10%. Links below for some of the other products. And again, thanks for watching, guys. Hit the like button, leave me a comment, and please subscribe. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.